Om Jnana-timirandasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam yena Bhutale Swayam Rūpaha Kada Mahyam Dadhi Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rūpam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathānvitam Tam Sajivam Sadavaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakamitam Sha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti-vedanta Swami Nityanamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gaurtushe Namaha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gotika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hripriye Manchakalpatarurvyascha Kripa Sindhubheva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Welcome to the class on Nectar of Devotion. We are going to start a new chapter today, chapter 17. It discusses about Bhava Bhakti, 17 and 18. Now, what I have decided is, since I've already given you the dates for examination, which is after 2 weeks, I plan to cover these 3 chapters, 17, 18, 19, today and tomorrow itself. Okay? So, which means the class may become 3 hours long also. Right? Instead of 2 hours, it may also become 3 hours long. So, you can be prepared for that, just for today and tomorrow. And so that you complete the portion, you have 2 weeks to prepare, and then you give the exam. And by month end, we are done with this batch of Bhakti-sastri, the batch 1, not the batch 2. All right, yes. So let's start chapter 17, which is Bhava Bhakti, devotional service in iskcon. Okay. If you remember, we had discussed the definition of sadhana bhakti as something which should lead to Bhava Bhakti, right? Correct? Sadhana Bhakti should lead to Bhava Bhakti. That was the topic which we had discussed, right? That's the goal of sadhana bhakti. If sadhana bhakti is not done with that goal, it's not called sadhana bhakti. So sadhana bhakti should be done with that intention, that it should lead to bhava. And that's why Srila Rūpa Gosvāmī has described in detail what is sadhana bhakti. So many chapters were based on that. Now, bhava bhakti is attained through practice. But Bhava Bhakti is itself not the complete goal. It's like an intermediate stage, because after Bhava there is Prem, right? So here we have to now properly understand that how this Bhava develops, what is this Bhava, and how will it lead to Prema. Okay, we'll look at the um, Sanskrit text first. So this is given in Chaitanya Charitamrita. You can note down the verse CC Madhya 23.5. शुद्ध सत्व विशेषात्मा प्रेम सूर्यांशु साम्य भाग रुचिभिश्चित्तमश्विन्य कृद असौभाव उच्यते. Fine. Translation. When devotional service is executed on the transcendental platform of pure goodness, Shuddha Sattva Visheshatma, it is like a sun ray of love for Krishna. At such a time, devotional service causes the heart to be softened by various tastes, and one is then situated in bhav or emotion. Fine. Please try to understand these things very nicely, because we should know what we are doing properly. Then only we can relish it and be sure that we are going to get the goal. So here it is said that when devotional service is situated on the platform of pure goodness, which means it is beyond the three modes of material nature. It is beyond tamagun, rajagun, and sattvaguna. Then that devotional service is called bhava bhakti. You can note down that bhava bhakti has two kinds of characteristics, primary and secondary. Just like when we are discussing the definition of pure devotional service, we discussed primary and secondary characteristic, right? Sarupa Lakshana and what was the next one? Gauna Lakshana, right? Primary and secondary. Hmm? So similarly, Bhava Bhakti has primary and secondary characteristic. What is the primary characteristic? This is the primary characteristic. Shuddha Sattva Visheshatma. When the Shuddha Sattva enters the heart of a devotee, then that devotee experiences Bhava. Now, what is meant by Shuddha Sattva? Shuddha Sattva means it's not the mode of material, it's not the material mode of goodness, but it is the Lord's internal potency, which revives the dormant love of Krishna in the heart. Just like a seed has the capacity to become a tree or a plant, but the seed cannot germinate into a plant without the help of the sun and the heat of the sun, right? Isn't it? Similarly, in the heart of the jiva, there is this seed of love for Krishna, but it is in dormant stage. And that seed can grow into love for Krishna only when Krishna's own devotional energy touches the heart of the living entity. Fine. That devotional energy should touch the heart of the living entity. So this devotional energy is made up of two things. We'll discuss that later. So how does this devotional energy touch the heart of the living entity? When a living entity eagerly wants to serve the Supreme Lord, this energy enters the heart of the devotee through the mercy of a pure devotee of Krishna. A pure devotee of Krishna is a carrier of this energy. A pure devotee of Krishna carries this energy. And that pure devotee of Krishna gives us that energy through his mercy. So then we become nourished by that energy. Right? So when this energy touches our heart, prema will begin to sprout. That's why you see, here Gosvāmī is comparing bhava to prema surya anshu. Anshu means ray, surya means sun. He's saying bhav is a ray of the sun of prem. If prem is the sun, bhav is the ray. Understood? If prem is like the sun, bhav is like the sun ray. Fine. Which means what? Sun ray is very small part of the sun. Right? First thing. Second thing, if you are able to see the sun ray, you are going to see the sun soon. Which means when bhav starts to come in the heart, prema is going to come soon. First thing. Second thing, Because sun ray is a part of the sun, the heat of the sun can be also felt when the sun ray touches your body, which means the emotions that are experienced at the level of prema, they start developing in a very minute quantity at the stage of bhava. Okay. Mhm. Now a question may arise. If if the sun is going to rise soon, why discuss Bhava Bhakti as a separate stage? It is being discussed as a separate stage because one may rise to the level of Bhav and then because of aparadh can fall down from that stage also. One cannot fall down from the stage of prema, but one can fall down from the stage of bhava. Hmm. Which means what? Even at the stage of bhava, one has to be cautious that the goal is not yet reached. I have to be still very careful about my devotional service or devotional life. Fine. So that's why it's called a ray of the sun of prema. Bhav is the onset of prema, as dawn is the onset of day. Huh? Now, how Shuddha Tattva descends? Shuddha Tattva is made up of two energies, Samvit and Haladini. Samvit means knowledge, potency of Krishna. Haladini means happiness or uh, devotional potency of Krishna, right? Correct? So when these two potencies completely capture the heart of the living entity, that living entity experiences bhav. The Samvit potency will help one understand know Krishna completely. Who is Krishna? What is his position and everything. And the Haladini Shakti will help us experience love for Krishna, emotions for Krishna. Yes. Hmm. At present, we love Krishna, but Krishna is not the only object of love for us. But when Bhav comes in the heart, then Krishna becomes the only object of love. Hmm. Now it's not so. So this is called Bhava Bhakti, the awakening of love of Godhead. Fine. Now what is the secondary characteristic of Bhava Bhakti? It is Chitta Masrinya. The heart becomes soft. Heart becomes soft. What is soft-heartedness? Soft-heartedness does not mean that because I'm a devotee on Bhava Bhakti platform, so I see anyone suffering, so I start crying. So I'm a soft-hearted person. No, soft-heartedness means when you start chanting names of Krishna, you start crying. That's how it becomes soft. Now we chant names of Krishna, we don't feel like crying because our heart is hard. So at that stage, soft-heartedness means when you start chanting name of Krishna, you see Krishna, you hear about Krishna, you start crying. Why you start crying? Because of those uh, overflow of emotions in the right. These cries are not, these tears are not always the tears of like suffering. Sometimes they are tears of happiness, joy, melancholy, lamentation. But your heart becomes very, very soft. Your heart becomes full of spiritual emotions. So that's the secondary characteristic. Hmm. Now, can you say that someone is crying looking at the form of Krishna? That means that person is at Bhava Bhakti? Not necessarily. That's why it is secondary characteristic. It is not the primary characteristic. Hmm. Primary characteristic is Shuddha Sattva. Secondary characteristic is something which may be visible, which may not be visible. All right. And what will happen when Bhava Bhakti will appear in heart? Three things will happen. One will develop three kinds of desires. First desire, one will have a desire to achieve Krishna. Prapti Abhilasha. I want Krishna. That will be first. Strong desire. I want Krishna. Second, there will be a strong desire to serve Krishna with various services. I want to serve Krishna. I cannot stay without serving Krishna. I must, every moment, I should do something for Krishna. And third, every moment there'll be a feeling, how can I become close to Krishna in heart? I want to get some space in Krishna's heart. And I want to always keep Krishna in my heart. I don't want to lose Krishna. So these three desires become very prominent in a person at the stage of Bhava. Okay. Hmm. Fine. Let's read first paragraph. Someone volunteer. Yes, Sonali Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. By the process of executing regulated devotional service, one is actually elevated onto the transcendental stage, beyond the material modes of nature. At that time, one's heart becomes illuminated like the sun. The sun is far above the planetary system, and there is no possibility of its being covered by any kind of cloud. Similarly, when a devotee is purified like the sun from his pure heart, there is there is a
Diffusion.
diffusion of ecstatic love, which is more glorious than the sunshine. Only at that time is the attachment to Krishna perfect. Spontaneously, the devotee becomes eager to serve the Lord in his ecstatic love. At this stage, the devotee is on the platform of Uttama Adhikari, perfect devotion. Such a devotee has no agitation from material affections and is interested only in the service of Radha Krishna. Shall I continue, Prabhuji?
Someone else can read. Next, Dev Prabhu.
To clarify, in the previous chapters, the symptoms of devotional service were explained along with instructions as to how we may execute devotional service with our present senses and gradually rise to the platform of ecstasy and spontaneous love. And the two kinds of devotional service, namely devotional service through regulative principles and through spontaneous love, were discussed. Within the stage of the regulative principles of devotional service, there are two divisions, namely executive and effective. This effective portion of devotional service is called bhava or ecstasy. In this connection, there is a statement in the Tantras that ecstasy is the first symptom of pure love for the personality of Godhead. And in that stage, one is sometimes found shedding tears or shivering. Not always are these symptoms manifest, but occasionally. When King Ambarisha was put into difficulty by Durvasha, he began to think, Prabhu, can you scroll down? Uh, he began to think of the lotus feet of the Lord, and thus there were some changes in his body, and tears were falling from his eyes. These symptoms are activities of ecstasy. They are visible in the shivering of the body and the shedding of tears. After the outward appearance of these aesthetic symptoms, they stay within the mind, and continuation of the ecstasy is called samadhi. This stage of appreciation becomes the cause of future exchanges of loving affairs with Krishna.
Thank you. So, to clarify, in the previous chapters, the symptoms of devotional service are explained along with instructions as to how we may execute devotional service with the present senses. And the two kinds of devotional service, namely devotional service through regulative principles, so that is Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti, and through spontaneous love, that is Raga Nuga Sadhana Bhakti, were discussed. Within the stage of the regulative principles of devotional service, there are two divisions, namely executive and effective. Executive means sadhana bhakti, effective means bhava bhakti, because bhava bhakti is the effect of sadhana bhakti, right? Hmm? The effective portion is called bhava, and then Prabhupada gives an example of Amarish Maharaj experiencing bhava, correct? He was shedding tears thinking of the lotus feet of Krishna. So that's example. So after the outward appearance of these ecstatic symptoms, they stay within the mind, and continuation of the ecstasy is called samadhi. Hmm. So when one experiences these feelings of ecstasy for a long time, then that's called samadhi. Right? This stage of appreciation then becomes the cause of future loving exchanges of loving affairs with Krishna. Fine. Okay. So this is understood. Clear? So when bhav appears in our heart, it permeates our consciousness. Just like, when an iron rod is kept in fire, the iron rod becomes fiery. Similarly, when bhav appears in the mind of a conditioned soul who has now become purified, the bhav will permeate the entire mental space of that person. And then that person is always by default thinking of Krishna. That's called tadatmaka, always thinking of Krishna. Hmm? And that person then reaches the stage of samadhi. Okay, which means that person then becomes overwhelmed and controlled by these emotions. It's not in his control or her control then. When bhav comes, cannot control. Okay. Now it depends on what level of devotion and devotee you are. If you are a devotee with a small heart, now here small heart doesn't mean that your heart space size is small. Devotee with a small heart means your capacity to love Krishna is small. Then what will happen is those ecstatic emotions will be very strongly visible in your physical appearance. Okay. But if you are a devotee of a big heart, which means your capacity to love Krishna is huge, then you'll be able to hide those emotions and not show it. It's just like, let me give you an example. If you have a container which has a capacity of 200 ml, if you try to add water 250 ml, what will happen? Overflow. So you'll see water coming out, correct? But if you have a capacity, the container has a capacity of 5 liters, and then you add 250 ml, will the water come out? No. So if the devotee has a heart big enough to experience a lot of emotions for Krishna, then small ecstatic symptoms will not be visible. That will remain inside. The world will not be able to see it. But if that devotee has like not much capacity to love Krishna, then little ecstatic emotion and it will be visible to everyone. That the devotee is crying, jumping, laughing, all that. So which means what? The more you have a capacity to hide your spiritual emotions, the greater devotee you are. The more capacity you have to hide your spiritual emotions, the greater devotee you are. A very beautiful example is given. It comes in the later section of this book. And the example is what? The example is ecstatic emotions for Krishna are like elephants walking around with a band, people are beating the drums, playing on the trumpets, and there are elephants walking around, and the elephants are also making sound with their trunks. Okay. So the example is given, if it's a small village with not much population and a quiet place, what will happen? If this band comes in the village, the whole village will come to me, right? Everyone in the village will come to me. But if such a band comes in a city like Mumbai, no one will come to me. Similarly, it is said that these ecstatic emotions of bhava are like elephants. If your heart is full of love for Krishna and so many devotional sentiments are there in your heart for Krishna, few small elephants come and go, no one will realize or notice. No one will come to know that there is an elephant going inside, which means this person is experiencing bhava. No one will come to know. But if your heart is small, it's like a village, small love for Krishna. Then little bhav, oh my God, there'll be so much of external, drama. Not like drama in the sense artificially, but externally you'll see so much of emotions and all that. So that's why the more someone can hide these spiritual emotions, actually the more advanced that becomes. Or the more capacity that person has for devotional service. That's the point. Okay. Hmm?
Can I ask a question, Prabhuji?
Yes.
Is there a way or is it possible to increase the capacity to love Krishna?
Yes, it is possible. That is possible. But that is possible by getting mercy of Krishna and Krishna's devotee. This is called adhikar, prema adhikar. How much adhikar you have to serve and love Krishna. So that adhikar gets increased by mercy of devotees of Krishna. They give you a bigger adhikar to serve. Otherwise, that adhikar remains small. Like to give you a very simple example. The adhikar of Śrīla Prabhupada to serve Krishna is million times more than the adhikar that you have or I have. Right? Isn't it? Hmm? Yeah, that's his adhikar. His adhikar is what? He can make the whole universe Krishna conscious. That's his adhikar. Right? Isn't it? So that adhikar is because of their past and the mercy they have. Fine? Okay.
Prabhuji, may I ask?
Yeah.
Prabhuji, in Gaur Leela, generally we read that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu come in ecstasy very soon, and then
Yeah.
how can we see it?
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes in ecstasy very soon. That is because, that's what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to demonstrate. If he wanted, he could have very easily, not shown it. But he came to show it. But this is how you should feel for Krishna. This is how you should cry for Krishna. So he's like a teacher, a person who's coming to teach Bhava Bhakti, spontaneous attraction for Krishna. So Mahaprabhu demonstrated it for people to follow, but secretly. Which means, yes, you can do so in your room privately when no one is watching you, like that, right? So the Mahaprabhu did that because of that reason. And second thing is, Mahaprabhu is Srimati Radharani, and she is, though her capacity to love Krishna is of huge amounts, but the emotions that she feels is also of huge amounts. That's like the highest. It's called Madanakya Mahabhav. It's not called Bhav, it's called Mahabhav, right? So therefore, that is like, we cannot experience it. If a jiva starts experiencing Mahabhav, the jiva will die. The jiva does not have a capacity to experience so much emotions. The jiva will just die. That capacity is not there.
Jiva is in the body, right?
The body will die, finish. The body will not be able to contain so much of emotion. Okay. Next. Now there are two ways to achieve bhav. Let's read this. How to achieve this bhava bhakti? Can we achieve bhava bhakti just by mechanically doing sadhana bhakti? No, right? We cannot. So how to achieve this bhava bhakti? Let's read Varshana Leela Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Elevation to this stage of ecstasy can be possible in two ways. One way is by constant association with the pure devotees. The other way is by the special mercy of Krishna or by the mercy of a pure devotee of Krishna. Elevation to the static stage of life is generally attained through association with pure devotees, while elevation to that stage by special mercy of Krishna or his devotee is very rare. The purport is that one should execute devotional service rigidly in the association of devotees so that there will be certainty in raising oneself to that ecstatic position. In special cases, of course, there is special favor from Krishna. And although we should always expect that, we should not sit idly and simply wait for Krishna's special mercy. The regular duties must be performed. It is just as when sometimes It is found that a person who never attended school or college may be recognized as a great scholar, or an honorary degree from great universities may be offered to him. But this does not mean that one should avoid school and expect to automatically receive an honorary degree from some university. Similarly, one should devoutly execute the regulative principle of devotional service and at the same time hope for Krishna's favor or for his devotees' favor. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So Prabhupada writes very clearly here, two ways to achieve bhav. One is by ardent spiritual practice. But that spiritual practice is to be done in association of pure devotees of Krishna. Right? Which means we should chant and hear in association of pure devotees of Krishna. Why? Because a pure devotee of Krishna is whole day chanting and hearing and serving Krishna. So if you are in association of pure devotee, what will you do? You will also do the same thing. Right? Isn't it? Correct. So that's what happened. So therefore, one should always do that. And the other is what? By mercy of Krishna or Krishna's pure devotee. But Prabhupada says that is rare. Very, very rare. It's like, student getting an honorary degree without going to school or college. It's very rare. Understood? Right? Correct? So now, bhava can be achieved by practice, sadhana. Now, sadhana is of two types we already studied. What are they? Sadhana is of two types, Vaidhi and Raganuga. Isn't it? Correct? So one can achieve bhav by Vaidhi sadhana bhakti, or one can achieve bhav by Raganuga sadhana bhakti. Which means one can also achieve prema by Vaidhi sadhana bhakti, and one can also achieve prema by Raganuga sadhana bhakti. Will they two be the same kind of prema? No. The Vaidhi bhakti, sadhana bhakti, bhav and prema will lead to Vaikuntha prema. But the Raganuga sadhana bhakti and bhav bhakti will lead to Golok prema. Got it? If it is just Vaidhi sadhana bhakti leading to bhav bhakti and leading to prema bhakti, then it's going to be Vaikuntha. But if it is Raganuga sadhana bhakti leading to bhav bhakti and leading to prema bhakti, then it's going to be Golok, Krishna in Vrindavan. Understood? So now example is given. Okay. Example is given. Śrīla Prabhupada gives example to us. Vaidhi sadhana bhakti leading to bhav bhakti. Let's read. Paramita Mataji. Are you there?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat
An
Pranam.
example of rising to the stage of ecstatic love by executing the regulative principles of devotional service is given in the life story of Narada, which is described to Vyasadeva in Srimad Bhagavatam. Narada tells there of his previous life and how he developed to the stage of ecstatic love. He was engaged in the service of great devotees and used to hear their talks and songs. Because he had the opportunity to hear these pastimes and songs of Krishna from the mouths of pure devotees, he became very attracted within his heart. Because he had become so eager to hear these topics, he gradually developed within himself an ecstatic love for Krishna. This ecstatic love is prior to the pure love of Krishna. Because in the next verse, Narada confirms that by the gradual process of hearing from the great sages, he developed love of Godhead. In that connection, Narada continues to say in the first canto, 5th chapter, verse 28 of the Bhagavatam, "First I passed my days in the association of the great sages during the rainy autumn season. Every morning and evening I heard them while they were singing and chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, and thus my heart gradually became purified. As soon as I heard them with great attention, the influence of the modes of material ignorance and passion disappeared, and I became firmly fixed in devotional service to the Lord."
Correct.
Hare
Thank you.
Krishna.
So this is how Narada, that boy Narada, developed Bhava Bhakti by ways of sadhana bhakti. He was just, you see, why we call Narada as someone on the path of Vaidhi sadhana? Because Narada had no such strong attraction towards Krishna as a boy. Right? Raganuga means you should have that strong likingness for Krishna. He did not have strong likingness for Krishna, but he developed strong likingness towards those sages, hearing to them, right? Listening to them, serving them. Huh? He did not have strong likingness towards Krishna, but he developed that strong likingness towards those Bhakti Vedantas. So he wanted to hear them, serve them, be with them, spend time with them. And because of their association, constant association, slowly, as Narada himself says, the mode of passion and ignorance disappeared. So if mode of passion and ignorance disappear, what happens then? What appears? What appears then?
Mode of goodness.
Not just mode of goodness, mode of pure goodness. Shuddha Sattva, it appears. And when Shuddha Sattva will appear, what will happen? Bhava Bhakti. Right? Isn't it? Bhava Bhakti will appear. Fine. Okay. So this is the process actually. That's why you try to understand the way Srila Prabhupada has designed the practice of Krishna consciousness in iskcon. It's a very scientific process. It's based on how the goal has been achieved by different personalities in the past. What did Narada do? He just heard them, the Bhaktivedantas. What are we supposed to do? We are also supposed to only hear from pure devotees of Krishna constantly. Getting it? We are supposed to do the same thing. Right? Huh? That's why Prabhupada then further writes, explains the same thing. Next paragraph. Tulasi Mataji.
Hare Krishna. These are practical examples of how one can develop to the stage of ecstatic love simply by the association of pure devotees. It is essential, therefore, that one constantly associate with pure devotees who are engaged morning and evening in chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. In this way, one will get the chance to purify his heart and develop this ecstatic pure love for Krishna. Must I continue, Prabhu?
Yeah.
This statement is also confirmed in the 3rd canto, 25th chapter, verse 25 of Srimad Bhagavatam, where Lord Kapila says, "My dear mother, when a person is actually in association with pure devotees, the sublime potency of my devotional service can be experienced. In other words, when a pure devotee speaks, his words act upon the hearts of the audience. What is the secret of hearing and chanting? A professional speaker cannot impress transcendental ecstasy within the hearts of the listeners. However, when a realized soul who is engaged in the service of the Lord is speaking, he has the potency to inject spiritual life within the audience. One should therefore seek the association of such pure, unalloyed devotees, and by such association and service, a neophyte devotee will certainly develop attachment, love, and devotion for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. So one should have done sadhana, right? Sadhana should be there. Are you not able to see the screen? Yes, you are right. So sadhana can be done in this life, or it can be sadhana done in the past life. Fine. An example of someone who did sadhana in the past life and suddenly became a devotee of level of Bhava Bhakta is Vritrasur. As Chitraketu Maharaj, he did a lot of devotional service. And then because of curse of Parvati, he became a demon. And when he was fighting on the battlefield, suddenly Bhav came out. He did no sadhana in that life. He did sadhana in the past life. But in that life, suddenly that past sadhana sprouted in the form of Bhava. So it may be because of past life, or it may be because of the present life. Now, if it is because of the present life, one has to come to the stage of Nishtha. Then from Nishtha, one will go to the stage of Ruchi. and then asakti. And then asakti will lead to bhav. Bhav is also known as rati. You can note this down. Wherever the word used, the word rati is used, rati means bhava. Okay, rati means bhav. In Sanskrit, any shloka, the word rati will come, it means bhav. One should therefore seek the association of such pure unalloyed devotees, and by such association in service, a unified devotee will certainly develop attachment, love, and devotion for the Supreme Personality of God. So this is true. When we get to hear from such exalted Vaishnavas, just a little amount of hearing can produce immense spiritual emotions in our heart. Right? And let me tell you something. It's not necessary that you have to hear Krishna Katha, such as stories given in 10th canto, only from such a Vaishnava. If such a Vaishnava is teaching second chapter of Bhagavad Gita also, that will also may become a cause of spiritual emotions in our heart. Right? It's not necessary that that devotee has to tell us stories of Krishna from 10th canto, then only will experience spiritual emotions. No, that devotee may speak anything about Krishna, but the emotions will get transferred. And one will start feeling those emotions.
It can happen through kirtans as well, Prabhuji.
It can happen to Kirtan also. Yes, it can happen to Krishna Nam, Krishna Katha, Krishna Kirtan, anything. It may happen to Krishna Prasadam also. Right. So it may happen through any of these things. Now next is someone who is doing Raganuga Sadhana Bhakti and then coming to the stage of Bhava Bhakti. Okay. So Prabhupada Prabhupada translates the example given by Śrīla Rūpa Gosvāmī. Usha Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Naam. In the Padma Purana, there is a story of a neophyte devotee who, in order to raise herself to the aesthetic love platform, danced all night to invoke the Lord's grace upon her. Sometimes, can I continue, Prabhuji?
Yeah.
Thank you. Sometimes, however, it is found that without undergoing any devotional process, one all of a sudden develops devotion for Lord Krishna. This sudden development of devotional attitude in a person must be understood as a special mercy of Krishna or his devotee. This apparently accidental development of aesthetic feelings through the causeless mercy of Krishna can be divided into three groups: simply by speaking, simply by glancing, and simply by good wishes. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Yes. So here, just an example is given of a girl who, quoting from Padma Puran, it is said that this girl, she wanted to please the Lord and get his mercy. So one night, she just danced with a happy heart for Krishna's pleasure. That's all she did. Just one night, she danced whole night with a heart to please Krishna. And because of her dance in front of the deity of Krishna, Krishna in the form of deity gave her mercy. And she developed bhava. But one may say, just one night, only one night was sufficient. Yes, because she had that desire to please Krishna. Raga Nuga Bhakti. So 1 night was sufficient. Dhruva Maharaj took how many days?
6 months, Prabhuji.
6 months. That also such
6 months.
severe austerity,
Yeah.
right? Why? Why not 1 night?
Because his aspiration was not to please Krishna, but it was to get a large kingdom rather than his farm.
Correct. Because his aspiration was not Krishna, right? So he was not doing Raganuga Bhakti, right? And he was doing Vaidhi Bhakti, but Vaidhi Bhakti also with material desire. So he was not doing pure devotional service. Right? So it took time. But this girl didn't take time. And what happened to this girl? This girl later on became a Sakhi of Srimati Radharani. Okay, so that's example of someone who did Bhava Bhakti stage, reached Bhava Bhakti stage through Raganuga Sadhana. Now next, these two examples were someone who did some practice. The next is, without undergoing any devotional service, one suddenly develops devotion to Lord Krishna. This sudden development is due to mercy of Krishna or his pure devotee. Fine. Now these mercy can come in 3 ways. By Krishna's words, by Krishna's glances, or by Krishna's good wishes. Or by a devotee's words, a devotee's glances, or devotee's good wishes. Understood? One may get this Bhava Bhakti. That's why we should know if we have we have honestly touched the heart of a pure devotee of Krishna, and that pure devotee of Krishna just blesses us saying, may you attain Krishna, done. Done. That's all. Then Krishna will be yours sooner or later. Right? That's why it is said that we should be so careful in our association with Vaishnavas. If we get the good wishes, our good fortune is completely there. If a Vaishnava speaks something like that, may you get Krishna prema, done. Just by good wishes. Okay, so just by good wishes, that is possible. Okay, let's read.
Sorry, Prabhuji, to interrupt you. Prabhuji, can we consider, may I continue?
Yes.
Prabhuji, can we consider Rukmini have come to Bhava Bhakti by hearing about Krishna from Narada Muni?
Example is given. Let's look at the example which is already given here.
Okay, right.
Will not take example of Rukmini because Rukmini is already internal associate, na? She's not a conditioned soul developing Bhava Bhakti. Who is Rukmini? She's an eternal associate of Krishna. Right? She's not a conditioned soul who got association of Narada and became a pure devotee of Krishna. She is eternal consort of Krishna. That's a Leela, pastime.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Can I ask one question?
Yeah.
Prabhuji, you told if one develops Bhava Bhakti through Sadhana Bhakti, then go to Vaikuntha. And
through
if one
Vaidhi
develops
Sadhana Bhakti. Through Vaidhi Sadhana.
through Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. And through Raganuga Bhakti means we can go to Golok Vrindavan. So now we are doing Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti only. So what is our destination, Prabhuji?
Very good question. So we are doing Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti only? No. We are doing Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti mixed with Raganuga. We are not doing just Vaidhi sadhana bhakti. We are doing both. Mixture of both. How mixture of both now? Question may come. How we are doing mixture of both? So we are doing mixture of both. Why? Because while we are doing Vaidhi sadhana bhakti, what is the instruction given to us? What is the instruction being repeatedly given to us? That while you do your bhakti, don't do it mechanically. Try to please Krishna. Try to think of Krishna. Remember Krishna. Right? So the element of rag is coming there. That I am desiring Krishna. I am not just desiring something else. Second thing, another element of Raganuga Bhakti is what? You are following in the footsteps of someone who has rag. Right? So I'm doing Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti, but under the direction of a spiritual master who has love for Krishna. So unknowingly, I'm following in the footsteps of a Raganuga Bhakta. And because I'm following in the footsteps of a Raganuga Bhakta, I also become in one sense Raganuga. You're getting it?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji.
So that's the point that we need to understand. Just because we are associated with this sampradaya and parampara and we have devotees around us who are Raganuga Bhaktas or who are lovers of Krishna, without we doing anything, we are actually becoming Raganuga. You're getting it? Because it's coming like a heritage to you. You're getting it without actually even knowing it. So we are doing a mixture of both. It's not only Vedic, it's a mixture of both. There is little mixture of rag.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam. May I ask a question? In connection with this only. Prabhuji, it will all depend on the percentage of Vaidhi and Raganuga. So, by doing both, our Raganuga Bhakti will, I think, gradually increase to a much.
Yeah, yes, it will increase. Rag will increase slowly.
Okay, thank you, Prabhuji.
It will increase if you want to increase. How will it increase? When I know about it. When I don't know about it. Like for example, before we discuss this chapter and these concepts, did you know about it? No. So there is no knowledge. So if there is no knowledge, then how will I think about it? Or how will I aspire for it? Now when I know it, I'll think about it. I'll aspire for it. So when I aspire for it, then that desire becomes fulfilled by Krishna.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Next paragraph. Gita communication.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. In the Naradiya Purana, there is a statement about development of ecstatic love simply by speaking. Lord Krishna said to Narada, O best of the Brahmanas, I wish that you may develop unalloyed devotional service to me, which is full of transcendental bliss and all auspiciousness. Can I continue, Prabhuji?
Yeah.
In the Skanda Purana, there is a statement about developing ecstatic love towards Krishna simply by glancing. It is stated there when the inhabitants of Jangala province saw the personality of Godhead Krishna, they were so stricken with feeling that they could not withdraw their glance from him. Hare Krishna.
So two examples. First is of Krishna spoke to Narad. So this is mercy by words. Yeah? That, O best of the Brahmanas, you may develop unalloyed devotional service to me. So he gave mercy by words. Fine. Next, Skanda Puran gives the example of Krishna glancing upon someone. And they were then again reason to the platform of Bhakti. Fine. And then the third one, by good wishes. Uma Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam. As far as heartfelt wishes are concerned, there is a statement in the Sukha Samhita where Narada tells Śrīla Vyasadeva, "You have a son who is the greatest devotee of the personality of Godhead, and I can observe that without any following of the regulative principle of devotional service, he is already enriched with many of the symptoms achieved by the execution of devotional service after many births." Should I?
So this is Narada having good wishes for the son of Vyasadeva. Narada having good wishes for the son of Vyasadeva, just by good wish. So he's saying this boy, he's not yet born. He did not do any sadhana, but he's showing symptoms of love. Okay. Yeah. Getting the point. The examples are there. Now there is another example of the mercy of a devotee. Next paragraph. This gives the example of a mercy of a devotee. Ashok Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. As for ecstatic love for Krishna, there is a statement in the 7th canto, 4th chapter, verse 36 of Srimad Bhagavatam, in which Narada addresses King Yudhishthira, "My dear king, it is very difficult to describe the character of Prahlada. He developed a natural attraction for Krishna, and whatever I can explain about his character will simply be an arrangement of words. His actual character is impossible to describe." This means that Narada himself admitted that the natural development of Prahlada's ecstatic love was by the grace of Lord Krishna. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes. Next paragraph. Supanshi Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. This natural attraction for Krishna on the part of Prahlad was developed simply by the mercy of Narad. When Prahlad Maharaj was within the womb of his mother, she was being sympathetically instructed by Narad about the science of devotional service. And at the same time, Narad was wishing that the child within the womb could also take advantage of the instruction, because Narad, an authorized devotee and a great associate of the personality of Godhead, was desiring auspiciousness for Prahlad Maharaj. He developed all the characteristics of a high grade devotee. This is called natural attraction. It is caused by the special grace of the personality of Godhead or by the special grace of a great devotee like Narada. There is a statement in the Skanda Puran wherein Parvati Muni tells Narad, "My dear Narad, all of you saintly persons, you are so great and glorious that simply by your good wishes, a law-born hunter also has become a great elevated devotee of Lord Krishna." This ecstatic love for Krishna can be divided into 5 divisions, which will be described by Sri Rūpa Gosvāmī later on. Hare Krishna
Yes.
Prabhuji.
So Bhava Bhakti is being just introduced in these chapters. The next other divisions of this book, the southern division, the other divisions, they talk more about Bhava Bhakti. Okay? Fine. So what lesson do we learn from this chapter?
That we have to have association of devotees and practice Vaidhi Bhakti.
Okay, very good. What else?
Whatever we should do for the pleasure of Krishna, so that we may get Bhava Bhakti.
Very good.
Hare Krishna
Yes.
Prabhuji. So there are 2 ways to get Bhava Bhakti. One is by
Krishna
associating with pure devotees.
Prabhu.
Next is by
Next is
Next is
sadhana.
sadhana. Yes.
Okay, what else? Yes, any other point? No?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. So
Hmm.
the Bhava Bhakti is the goal. It's not the sadhana bhakti, is just the step, and Bhava Bhakti is the intermediate goal which will lead to the Prema Bhakti.
Okay, what else? What else?
We learn two
Yes, sir.
characteristics of Bhava Bhakti, primary
Ah.
and secondary. Shuddha Sattva is the primary characteristic, and softening of the heart is the secondary characteristic.
Yes. Anything else? What lesson? One more important lesson we learn.
Ultimate goal is to love Krishna.
All right. Any other
Ecstasy, the symptoms of ecstasy. So they can be contained in the big heart, and when those who are at this lower level of the ecstasy is easily manifested. But we cannot compare this with the, in the case of Mahaprabhu.
Okay.
Prabhuji,
And
mercy, we can get mercy from Krishna by his words, glances, and from the pure devotees and the well-wishing words and glances.
okay. All right. Any other point? One point you all on.
On the onset of Bhava Bhakti, there are three desires. I want to I want Krishna is a Prapti desire, and then I want to serve Krishna, and every moment a feeling to get closer to Krishna.
And Prabhuji, like we also learned that at Bhava Bhakti stage also one has to be very, very careful, because always there can be a possibility of fall down.
Example, Bharat Maharaj. Right.
We should serve our spiritual master to get their well wishes, to get love of Krishna.
Very good. Yes. One very important point which I think you all missed is, while we engage in Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti, we should not forget to beg Krishna and Krishna's pure devotees for their mercy. We may be very good in our sadhana, but we should not forget to beg Krishna for kripa, mercy. Because we should know that sadhana will take long time. It may be very good sadhana, but still it will take long time. Right? Isn't it? But kripa can make the process work very fast. And we don't know how long we are going to live. Right? So now why we do then sadhana if we are just desiring for kripa? We are doing sadhana just to show Krishna that I'm sincere. Our sadhana cannot make us get Krishna. Right? Our sadhana is not sufficient to get Krishna. But we do sadhana just to show to Krishna that I am sincere. But doing sadhana is not sufficient. I need to pray to Krishna. I need to beg Krishna. I need to beg Krishna's pure devotees that please, Gurudev Kripa Bindu Diya Guru Hoi Dase Trina Bekarati Hina. Right? And Gurudev Kripa Bindu Diya, give me Kripa, mercy. Give me mercy. So that mood should be there, asking for mercy. And it is said that in Kali Yuga, one cannot become sadhana siddha, one can only become kripa siddha. Perfect by mercy, not by sadhana. Because Kali Yuga Jeev cannot do sadhana. What sadhana? Not possible. So kripa, that's why that is our hope. So we pray for mercy. We always pray to Krishna for mercy. That by mercy it's possible, by mercy it's possible, by mercy it's possible. That's the hope for Kali Yuga Vasis. And for us to pray for mercy, we have to be humble. Then only we can pray for mercy. Right? Otherwise, that mercy factor is gone. So that's the lesson we learned from this chapter. Okay, any question from this chapter before we go to the next one? Paramita Mataji. Cannot hear you. Yes, Mataji, we cannot hear you. Gunagrai Garam Prabhu, question?
Yes, Prabhuji, and for it also it was there. Yeah, Prabhuji, as you have mentioned that we are trying to practice the both, I mean the Raganuga and Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. So, how the transition happens? I mean, if someone doesn't know that ultimate target is what you call Raganuga, Raganuga Sadhana Bhakti, then he may go to Vaikuntha, right?
Yeah.
Not Golaka.
Yes, possible.
Okay.
So that's why we are studying now. That's why we are studying the science of devotional service given by Rūpa. If you don't know, then we will not be able to. If you don't know the science, you'll not go to Vaikuntha also, Prabhuji. You'll stay hanging in material world only. Right.
Okay. One more thing, Prabhuji, just to confirm, as you mentioning that regarding the Bhava Bhakti, if someone does in the past life, so when he come to this, what do you call, in this present life, he need to start from Nishtha. Is it so?
No, not necessarily. That person, wherever he stopped that stage, he will start from that stage.
Okay.
It's not that they'll be fall down to Nishtha and from Nishtha continues. No. Vritrasur, as Chitraketu Maharaj, he was already at very elevated stage. What happened is his consciousness got covered.
Okay.
And suddenly, while he was in the battlefield, that bhava became so strong. It came out. Done. It's just like, for some time you forget who you are. And suddenly you realize, oh, I am this. Just like that. So that's what happened with Vritrasura. And that's what you see in some devotees also, no? Like, for example, just giving you a very basic example. How many years Yamuna Mataji practiced devotional service in the presence of Śrīla Prabhupada? Few years, right? And then what did Prabhupada say? She is already on the stage of Bhava. Correct, isn't it? Correct. Now, that means, what does that mean? Only for 2-3 years she practiced and she came on the stage of Bhava Bhakti? No, it means she's been carrying it from her
Past life.
past life. Because when she was leaving her body, she saw a dream. In a dream, she saw that she is in Himalayas, she is a yogi, and Prabhupada is also a yogi, and Prabhupada is her spiritual master. And she's practicing yoga under the guidance of Prabhupada. So she was carrying it from a past life. So some devotees, they carry it from the past life, and when they meet a pure devotee of Krishna, immediately that thing comes out. Or they land in Vrindavan and immediately that thing comes out. Another example, you can take the example of His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj. Came to Vrindavan and just fell in love with Vrindavan. Right?
Yes.
Suddenly, so much love for Krishna in Vrindavan. So much love for Vrindavan. From where it came? Right? Isn't it? So there are such examples are there, no? which is like sudden attraction. So that's from past life. Okay, the story of Vritrasura. The story of Vritrasura is this, that you know Chitraketu Maharaj is a famous character in Srimad Bhagavatam. He had how many wives? 10 million wives and no son. So he was very sad. And Narad Muni came, Parvat Muni came and gave him a blessing. You will get a child. You will get a son whose name is Harshashokam. And you know, then that son died and Chitraketu Maharaj died. So he served Lord Sankarsana for 7 days. And just by serving Lord Sankarsana for 7 days, he came to the platform of Bhava Bhakti. Okay. So then he was wandering around, in the sky in an airplane. And he was traveling with some of his, you can say, associates who were ladies. And he was singing Krishna's glories with them. Fine. So he saw down Lord Shiva giving a lecture to sages. Just a second. Giving a lecture to sages on Krishna consciousness. And he was having Mother Parvati sitting on his lap. Fine. He was speaking about Vairagya Vidya. With Mother Parvati sitting on his lap. So Chitraketu, he kind of glorified Lord Shiva, but in a sarcastic way. Look at him. He's a mendicant, a Jatadhari. He's speaking on Bhakti Tattva, Vairagya Tattva. But wife is sitting on his lap. What is this? So that is actually a compliment, that you see he's such a sense-controlled person that he can do this. But Parvati took it otherwise, that you are making fun of Lord Shiva, you don't know who Shiva is. And she cursed Chitraketu, you become a demon. So what happened? Because of that curse, that consciousness, I am a devotee, became faded. It became lost. And Chitraketu was born as Vritrasura. Vritrasura. So he was behaving like a demon throughout. When you read that section of Srimad Bhagavatam, the way he speaks, the way he's behaving, it's like a demon. But suddenly what happens is he starts speaking very beautiful Krishna conscious philosophy. And Indra is shocked. Indra is thinking, what happened to him? What happened? Just a few moments ago, he was like the biggest demon on the planet. And now he has become the best devotee I've ever seen. What has happened to him? Indra was shocked. Completely shocked. So what happened is that Bhav suddenly came into the heart of Vritrasura. Okay. Yes, Paramita Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, am I audible now?
Yeah.
Yeah, Prabhuji, classifying Bhava and Prema, you told that Bhava is like dawn and the Prema is like the day, is the first stage, and Prema is the second stage. And then you told that Vaikuntha and Goloka. So I want to know that as a result of Bhava Bhakti, we will go to Vaikuntha, and as a result of Prema Bhakti, we will go to...
No. If the bhava has been developed due to Vaidhi sadhana bhakti, then one will go to Vaikuntha. If the bhava has been developed due to Raganuga sadhana bhakti, one will go to Goloka.
Okay. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay, let's take a break. Then we go to the next chapter. Fine. Hare Krishna. Okay, so let's go to chapter number 18. Characteristics of one in ecstatic love. Rūpa Gosvāmī next describes the characteristics of a person who has actually developed his ecstatic love for Krishna. The characteristics are as follows. First, Ashok Prabhuji, please read the 6 points. You have to unmute yourself.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Rūpa Gosvāmī next describes the characteristics of a person who has actually developed his ecstatic love for Krishna. The characteristics are as follows. 1. He is always anxious to utilize his time in the devotional service of the Lord. He does not like to be idle. He wants service always, 24 hours a day, without deviation. 2. He is always reserved and perseverant. 3. He is always detached from all material attraction. 4. He does not long for any material respect in return for his activities. 5. He is always certain that Krishna will bestow his mercy upon him. 6. He is always very eager to serve the Lord faithfully. 7. He is very much attached to the chanting of the holy names of the Lord. 8. He is always eager to describe the transcendental qualities of the Lord. 9. He is very pleased to live in a place where the Lord's pastimes are performed. Example, Mathura, Vrindavana, or Dwaraka. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So these are the characteristics of one in ecstatic love. Qualities. These are the symptoms, 9 symptoms. So in the whole chapter, these qualities are individually described with example. These are reliable symptoms, which means, something which we can trust upon. Crying tears and all that, that is not reliable. But these are reliable symptoms. The qualities in Sanskrit are Shanti, Avyartha Kalatvam, Nama Gani Sada Ruchi, Pritis Tadvasati Stale, Virakti, Mana Shunyata. So a person cannot imitate these qualities and can also not hide these qualities. So that's why they become the standard benchmarks for knowing who is on Bhava Bhakti platform, who is not. Like tears, that can be hidden and that can also be faked. But these qualities cannot be hidden. One cannot hide them. And one cannot also fake them. Right? Fine? So let's read them. First of all, utilization of time. Rupanshi.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Utilization of time. An unalloyed devotee who has developed ecstatic love for Krishna is always engaging his words in reciting prayers to the Lord. Within the mind, he is always thinking of Krishna, and with his body, he either offers obeisances by bowing down before the deity or engages in some other service. During these ecstatic activities, he sometimes sheds tears. In this way, his whole life is engaged in the service of the Lord, with not a moment wasted on any other engagement. Perseverance. When a person is undisturbed, even in the presence of various causes of disturbance, he is called reserved or perseverant. An example of this perseverance and reservation is found in the behavior of King Parikshit as described in the first canto, 19th chapter, verse 15 of Srimad Bhagavatam. The king says there to all the sages present before him at the time of his death, "My dear Brahmanas, you should always accept me as your surrendered servant. I have come to the bank of the Ganges just to devote my heart and soul unto the lotus feet of the Lord Krishna. So, please bless me, that Mother Ganges may also be pleased with me. Let the curse of the Brahmana's son fall upon me. I do not mind. I only request that at the last moment of my life, all of you will kindly chant the holy name of Vishnu, so I may realize his transcendental qualities."
Next paragraph. Divya Vishwambar Prabhu. Okay, Ratnangi Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Yes. Detachment. The senses are always desiring sense enjoyment, but when a devotee develops transcendental love for Krishna, his senses are no longer.
Mataji, one paragraph is left.
Oh, okay.
This example.
Okay. Sorry. This example of Maharaja Parikshit's behavior, his remaining patient, even at the last point of his life, his undisturbed condition of mind is an example of reservation. This is one of the characteristics of a devotee who has developed ecstatic love for Krishna.
Yes. So these are some qualities which we can notice very visibly. That a devotee at the platform bhav will not like to waste even a single moment. Which means that devotee will always be in this kind of anxiety that I'm wasting my time. I'm wasting every single second I should use in Krishna's service. So they are like back to back busy serving Krishna. From the time they are awake to the time they go to bed. Just running around serving Krishna, like no breathing space, no breathing time, nothing. Thousands of things to do for Krishna. Right? Second, perseverance means undisturbed in any kind of situation. They are not disturbed. Nothing in the material world can disturb them. Like one example is there of Srila Prabhupada flying in the plane. Shrutakirti Prabhu gives this example that Prabhupada was in a flight and there was heavy turbulence. So all the passengers, they started screaming and shouting, what will happen, what will happen, what will happen. And Shrutakirti Prabhu observed Prabhupada's face, his countenance. Prabhupada was like, okay, and calm. And then after some time, the turbulence got over, the announcements were made by the chief air hostess. Everything is fine now, you can be relaxed. And people were cheering up. We are safe. Thank you, God. This, that. And Shrutakirti turned around and looked at Prabhupada and Prabhupada said, so, what time we are landing? So, I mean, nothing, no effect. Not affected at all. So, undisturbed. The person on that level is undisturbed. Okay? Detachment, virakti. Yes, Divya Vishwambar.
Hare Krishna. Detachment. The senses are always desiring sense enjoyment. But when a devotee develops transcendental love for Krishna, his senses are no longer attracted by material desires. This state of mind is called detachment. There is a nice example of this detachment in connection with the character of King Bharata. In the 5th canto, 14th chapter, verse 43 of Srimad Bhagavatam, it is stated, Emperor Bharata was so attracted by the beauty of the lotus feet of Krishna that even in his youthful life, he gave up all kinds of attachments to family, children, friends, kingdom, etc., as though they were untouchable stools. Should I continue, Prabhu? Or Emperor, can I?
Yeah, continue.
Emperor Bharata provides a typical example of detachment. He had everything enjoyable in the material world, but he left it. This means that detachment does not mean artificially keeping oneself aloof and apart from the allurements of attachment. Even in the presence of such allurements, if one can remain unattracted by material attachments, is called detached. In the beginning of the course, a neophyte devotee must try to keep himself apart from all kinds of alluring attachments. But the real position of a mature devotee is that even in the presence of allurements, he is not at all attracted. This is the actual criterion of detachment. Haribol.
Yes, Paramita Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Am I audible properly?
Yeah.
Okay. Hare Krishna. Pridelessness. When a devotee, in spite of possessing all the qualities of pure realization, is not proud of his position, he is called prideless. In the Padma Purana, it is stated that King Bhagirath was the emperor above all other kings, yet he developed such ecstatic love for Krishna that he became a mendicant and went out begging even to the homes of his political enemies and untouchables. He was so humble that he respectfully bowed down before them. There are many similar instances in the history of India. When even very recently, about 200 years ago or less, one big landlord known as Lal Babu, a Calcutta landholder, became a Vaishnava and lived in Vrindavana. He was also begging from door to door, even at the homes of his political enemies. Begging involves being ready to be insulted by persons to whose home one has come. That is natural, but one has to tolerate such insults for the sake of Krishna. The devotee of Krishna can accept any position in the service of Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Anju Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandvat Pranam. Great hope. The strong conviction that one will certainly receive the favor of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is called in Sanskrit Asha Bandhan. Asha Bandhan means to continue to think, because I'm trying my best to follow the routine principles of devotional service, I'm sure that I will go back to Godhead, back to home. In this connection, one prayer by Rūpa Gosvāmī is sufficient to exemplify this hopefulness. He says, I have no love for Krishna, nor for the cause of developing love of Krishna, namely hearing and chanting, and the process of Bhakti-yoga by which one is always thinking of Krishna and fixing his lotus feet in the heart is also lacking in me. As far as philosophical knowledge, probably can you please scroll? As far as the philosophical knowledge or pious works are concerned, I don't see any opportunity for me to execute such activities. But above all, I'm not even born of a nice family. Therefore, I must simply pray to you, Gopijana Vallabh, Krishna, maintainer and beloved of the gopis. I simply wish and hope that some way or other I may be able to approach your lotus feet, and this hope is giving me pain because I think myself quite incompetent to approach that transcendental goal of life. The purport is that under this heading of Asha Bandhan, one should continue to hope against the hope that some way or the other he will be able to approach the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. Thank you.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandvat Pranam. So eagerness for achieving the desired success. When one is sufficiently eager to achieve success in devotional service, that eagerness is called Shamukta. This means complete eagerness. Actually, this eagerness is the price for achieving success in Krishna consciousness. Everything has some value, and one has to pay the value before obtaining or possessing it. It is stated in the Vedic literature that to purchase the most valuable thing, Krishna consciousness, one has to develop intense eagerness for achieving success. This intense eagerness is very nicely explained by Billamangala Thakur in his book Krishna Karānamrita. He says, I am eagerly waiting to see that boy of Vrindavana whose bodily beauty is captivating the whole universe, whose eyes are always bounded by black eyebrows and expanded like lotus petals, and who is always eagerly glancing over his devotee and therefore moving slightly here and there. His eyes are always moist, his lips are colored like a copper, and through those leaves there comes a sound vibration which drives one madder than a mad elephant. I want so much to see him at Vrindavan. Hare Krishna.
Okay. Yes, Navnidhi Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Attachment to chanting the holy names of the Lord. In the same Krishna Karānamrita, there is another statement about the chanting of Radharani. It is said by one of the associates of Radharani, O Lord Govinda, the girl who is the daughter of King Rishabhanu is now shedding tears and she is anxiously chanting your holy name, Krishna, Krishna. Should I continue, Prabhuji?
Yes, Mataji.
Eagerness to describe the Lord's transcendental qualities. Attachment for chanting the glories of the Lord is also expressed in the Krishna Karānamrita as follows. What shall I do for Krishna, who is pleasing beyond all pleasurable conceptions and who is naughtier than all the restless boys? The idea of Krishna's activity is attracting my heart and I do not know what can I do. Hare Krishna.
Surekha Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Attraction for living in a place where Krishna has his pastimes. In the book Padyavali by Rūpa Gosvāmī, there is the following statement about Vrindavana. In this place, the son of Maharaj Nand used to live with his father, who was the king of the cowherd men. In this place, Lord Krishna broke the cart in which the Shakatasura demon was concealed. At this place, Damodara, who can cut the knot of our material existence, was tied up by his mother Yashoda. Shall I continue?
Yes, Mataji.
A pure devotee of Lord Krishna resides in the district of Mathura or Vrindavana and visits all the places where Krishna's pastime were performed. At these sacred places, Krishna displays his childhood activities with the cowherd boys and Mother Yashoda. The system of circumambulating all these places is still current among devotees of Lord Krishna, and those coming to Mathura and Vrindavan always feel transcendental pleasure. Actually, if someone goes to Vrindavan, he will immediately feel separation from Krishna, who performed such nice activities when he was present there.
Such attraction for remembering Krishna's activities is known as attachment for Krishna. There are impersonalist philosophers and mystics who, however, who by a show of devotional service want ultimately to merge into the existence of the Supreme Lord. They sometimes try to imitate a pure devotee sentiment for visiting the holy places where Krishna had his pastimes, but they simply have a view for salvation, and so their activities cannot be considered attachment. Anisha Mataji.
Hare Krishna, please accept my humble obeisances, Prabhuji. It is said by Śrīla Rūpa Gosvāmī that the attachment exhibited by pure devotees for Krishna cannot possibly be perfected in the hearts of fruitive workers, karmis, or mental speculators, because such attachment in pure Krishna consciousness is very rare and not possible to achieve even for many liberated persons, is stated in Bhagavad Gita. Liberation from material contamination is the stage at which devotional service can be achieved. For a person who simply wants to have liberation and to merge into the impersonal Brahma Jyoti, attachment to Krishna is not possible to acquire. This attachment is very confidentially kept by Krishna and is bestowed only upon pure devotees. Even ordinary devotees cannot have such pure attachment for Krishna. Therefore, how it is possible for success to be achieved by persons whose heart are contaminated by the actions and reactions of fruitive activities and who are entangled by various types of mental speculations. Should I continue, Prabhu?
Vrindarani Mataji, please read.
Hare Krishna, my obeisances. There are many so-called devotees who artificially think of Krishna's pastimes known as Ashtakaliya Leela. Sometimes one may artificially imitate this, pretending that Krishna is talking with him in the form of a boy, or else one may pretend that Radharani and Krishna both have come to him and are talking with him. Such characteristics are sometimes inhabited by the impersonalist class of men, and they may captivate some innocent persons who have no knowledge in the science of devotional service. However, as soon as an experienced devotee sees all of these caricatures, he can immediately evaluate such rascaldom. If such a pretender is sometimes seen possessing imitative attachment to Krishna, that will not be accepted as real attachment. It may be said, however, that such attachment gives the pretender hope that he may eventually rise onto the actual platform of pure devotional service.
Okay, so now let's look at the other part of this understanding. So ecstatic symptoms can be visible in neophyte devotees also and non-devotees also, but that is mundane emotion. And therefore, you see Srila Prabhupada and those who are serious practitioners of Krishna consciousness, they don't get carried away when they watch a person exhibiting emotions for Krishna without undergoing any strong sadhana or not getting any mercy of Krishna's devotee. Nowadays, you go to YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and you find so many people, small kids, ladies, sometimes men also, making videos as if they have developed such love for Krishna, carrying Krishna around and sharing their stories. And I mean, such a public demonstration of their love for Krishna. Today itself in Miraro temple during Guru Puja time, I saw one lady. She came walking into the temple carrying such a big lady of Gopalji, huge Gopalji, clinging to her chest, and as if she's Yashoda, she just gave birth to Gopal. So that is like basically you are being disrespectful to the genuine devotees and their genuine devotion. You're making it so cheap. So we who are following iskcon, we should not get carried away by such demonstration of love. We should know it's a science, and there are symptoms which are reliable, genuine, and there are symptoms which are not reliable, which are not genuine. right? So someone may imitate, someone may just fake it. Uh, Once Prabhupada was in United States, and a person visited iskcon temple. He was from Bengal, and devotees were doing kirtan, and he started rolling on the ground and screaming and shouting and saying Radha, Radha, and all this. So Tamakrishna Maharaj came and reported to Srila Prabhupada that we have someone who has such love for Krishna, right? So Prabhupada said, you should start beating that person with shoes, and then you'll come to know how much love that person is for Krishna. So there are incidents like that. In Chaitanya Charitamrita also it's mentioned, Haridas Thakur was there, and one person who was a snake charmer. He was playing some music on his instrument, and don't know that tune or that melody happened to be something devotional. So Haridas Thakur, he was like, when he heard that sound, he started getting feelings of ecstasy, and he was swooning to the sound. So at that time, that snake charmer did not bother. He was continuing with his playing, and Haridas Thakur was dancing, and all that was happening. So when one of the observers, he saw that Haridas Thakur came, he did all this tamasha, drama. So many people were so much, amazed by it. They started bowing down to it, and all that stuff. So he thought, let me also become, the center of attraction or attention. So after Haridas Thakur left from there, he also started doing the same thing. That I will dance and I will jump and do all that. And what did that snake charmer do? He stopped singing, stopped playing his instrument. He took a stick and he started beating this man. So he asked, when he was dancing, you're playing so nicely. When I'm dancing, you're beating me. What's the problem? So that snake charmer said that he was dancing for Krishna. You are dancing for all these people. That's the difference, right? So these sentiments can be faked. These are not real sentiments. And sometimes they are not faked. They might be visible in a neophyte devotee. Okay, right? May not be faked. That we'll discuss now. The types of feelings. Okay, let's read. Who's there? Amrita Vilasani Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandan Pranam. The imitative attachment can be divided into two headings, namely shadow attachment and the para, transcendental attachments. If someone, without understanding the regulative principles of devotional service or without being guided by a bona fide spiritual master, shows such imitative attachment, this is called shadow attachment. Sometimes it is found that a person actually attached to material enjoyment or salvation has the good fortune to associate with pure devotees while they are engaged in chanting the holy name of the Lord. By the good grace of the Lord, one may also cooperate and enjoy in the chanting. At that time, simply by the association of such pure devotees, the moonlight rays from their hearts reflect on him, and by the influence of the pure devotees, he may show some likeness of attachment caused by inquisitiveness. But this is very flickering. And if by the manifestations of such shadow attachment, one feels the disappearance of all material pangs, then it is called para attachments. Thank you. Thank you, Prabhu. Should I continue?
Next paragraph, Paramita Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Such shadow attachment or para-attachment can develop if one associates with a pure devotee or visits holy places like Vrindavana or Mathura. And if an ordinary man develops such attachment for Krishna and fortunately performs devotional activities in the association of pure devotees, he can also rise to the platform of pure devotional service. The conclusion is that transcendental attachment is so powerful that if such attachment is seen manifested even in some common man by the association of a pure devotee, it can bring one to the perfectional stage. But such attachment for Krishna cannot be invoked in a person without his being sufficiently blessed by the association of pure devotees.
Yes, Tanushri Mataji.
Hare Krishna, my humble pranams to you, Prabhu. As attachment can be invoked by the association of the pure devotee, so attachment can also be extinguished by offenses committed at the lotus feet of pure devotees. To be more clear, by the association of the pure devotees, attachment for Krishna can be aroused. But if one commits the offenses at the lotus feet of a devotee, one's shadow attachment or para attachment can be extinguished. This extinguishing is like the waving of the full moon, which gradually decreases and at last becomes dark. One should therefore be very careful while associating with pure devotees to guard against committing an offense at their lotus feet. Hare Krishna Prabhu. Shall I continue?
Hare Krishna Mataji. Someone else, please. Swati Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Transcendental attachment, either shadow or para, can be nullified by the different degrees of offenses at the lotus feet of pure devotee. If the offense is very serious, then one's attachment becomes almost nil. And if the offense is not very serious, one attachment can become second class or third class. If someone becomes attached to the principles of salvation or merging into the existence of Brahmajyoti, his ecstasis gradually diminishes into shadow and para attachment or else transform into the principle of ahari grahopasana. This ahari grahopasana describes a living entity. Aham grahopasana describes a living entity when he begins spiritual realization by identifying himself with the Supreme Lord. This state of self-realization is technically known as monism. The monist thinks himself one with the Supreme Lord. Thus, because he does not differentiate between himself and the Supreme Lord, it is his view that by worshipping himself, he is worshipping the Supreme Whole. Sometimes it is found that the neophyte is thinking a part in chanting and dancing very enthusiastically, but within himself, he is under the impression that he has become one with the Supreme Whole. This conception of monism is completely different from pure transcendental devotional service. If, however, it is seen that a person has developed a high standard of devotion without having undergone even a regulative principle, it is to be understood that his status of devotional service was achieved in a former life. For some reasons or another, it has been temporarily stopped, most probably by an offense committed at the lotus feet of a devotee. Now, with a good second chance, it has again begun to develop. The conclusion is that steady progress in devotional service can be attained only in the association of pure devotees.
If one can gradually advance his status in devotional service, this is understood due to to be due to the causeless mercy of Krishna himself. If a person is completely detached from material enjoyment and has developed pure ecstatic devotion, even if he is sometimes accidentally found not living up to the standard of devotional service, one should not be envious of him. It is confirmed also in Bhagavad Gita that a devotee who has unflinching faith in and devotion to the Lord, even if sometimes found to be accidentally deviated from pure devotional characteristics, should still be counted among the pure. Unflinching faith in devotional service in Lord Krishna and in the spiritual master makes one highly elevated in the activities of devotional service. In the Narsingha Purana, it is stated, if a person has completely engaged his mind, body, and activities in the service of the Supreme Godhead, but externally is found to be engaged in some abominable activities, these abominable activities will surely be very quickly vanquished by the influence of his staunch devotional service, staunch devotional force. There, the example is given that on the full moon, there are some spots that may appear to be pockmarks. Still, the illumination spread by the full moon cannot be checked. Similarly, a little found in the midst of volumes of devotional service is not at all to be counted as a fault. Attachment for Krishna is transcendental bliss. Amid unlimited volumes of transcendental bliss, a spot of some material defect cannot act in any way. So we'll discuss more on these topics tomorrow. I'll just take 1 or 2 questions, 3 questions now. Then we'll discuss this topic of shadow attachment and reflection attachment tomorrow. And then we'll discuss chapter 19 tomorrow. Fine. So the book syllabus will be completed by tomorrow morning class. Fine. Then you have time to prepare for your exams. Now, quick announcements before. Okay, let's take questions before then we give good announcements. Any questions? If you have, raise your hand, please. Otherwise, put your hand down. Paramita Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, in one place it was written like Sri Krishna has moist eyes. So why the eyes are moist?
Eyes are moist because of feelings of love. That's why the eyes are moist.
Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yes. Anything else? Navadini.
Yeah, Prabhuji, we came to know that when we associate with pure devotees, we can attain Bhav Bhakti by their mercy. So when we read books written by them, that also means associating with them. Will that bring us to the stage of Bhav Bhakti?
Yes, also, but no, also. When we associate with pure devotees, the best form of association with pure devotees, you hear them like directly from their mouth. That's like the best form of association. Right? That's the best. Then the next is you hear their tape. The next is you read their books. So the potency is different. It's not the same.
So, Prabhuji, when we hear the tapes of Srila Prabhupada and read his books, it is same as associating with him like Vapu and Vani through.
No, it's not the same. If Prabhupada was physically present, then that physical, spiritual aura would influence us much more to a greater degree. Because he's carrying that energy and you are so much close to that energy, devotion energy. So through books, one can definitely, borrow that energy, but then it's like little distance.
Okay.
But if you're very close, then it's just like, magnet. The far you go away from the magnet, the iron will get pulled or attracted to a lesser degree.
Yes,
so when we
Prabhuji.
are physically close and also we are close in heart and your feelings of love and devotion, then that attraction is like very strong and the influence, effect of that influence is also very strong. But like we don't have that option. So yes, for us then the option is we associate with Prabhupada through his lectures, through his videos, through his sound or through his books. At the same time, we should also know that it's not that only Śrīla Prabhupada is pure devotee of Krishna. There are living pure devotees also on the planet. So if we get a chance to associate with them, we should associate with them also.
Okay, Prabhuji.
There are devotees who are pure living on the planet. So we should associate with them as well. If we get a chance, we should serve them, hear from them, associate with them.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay. Anything else? Vrinda, any message?
My question is, can apparatus completely destroy apparatus to the devotees? Can they completely destroy devotion?
Sorry, Mataji, can you repeat the question, please?
Yes, of course. Can apparatus to the devotion to the lotus feet of the
No, your voice was cracking. Come again. Your voice is cracking in the okay, I think she's gone. How can we become humble? We heard in so many lectures that by continuously chanting the holy names, we become humble. But our japa is not so pure, it's full of offense. So how can we become humble? Humility is one of the qualities of pure soul. So we'll develop that quality more and more as we become more and more purer, which means by time, right? It will not happen immediately. So when we joined the movement, we were maybe not humble at all. Then in few years, we'll become little humble. And over the time, we'll become more and more humble. So any quality which is related to spirit soul, it is developed gradually over years. Doesn't happen like immediately you develop them. So humility will come based on our practices at present. Slowly, slowly, we'll become more humble. That's all. It won't happen immediately. It will take time. So we have to keep on doing sadhana nicely and serving nicely. And we can always pray to Krishna for the qualities that we want to develop. That Krishna, please give me these qualities. I want to develop these qualities. We can ask for those qualities. Then Krishna can fulfill those desires, those requests. That, yes. Right? Yes. Okay. So
Thank
by
you.
time we develop all the qualities: humility, tolerance, perseverance, compassion. Paramita Mataji.
Prabhuji, throughout the first part of this book, I can see that it is talking about Bhava Bhakti, and the second part is talking about Prema Bhakti, and third, primary rasas, and the fourth part, secondary rasas. Am I right, Prabhuji?
Can you come again?
First part of the book is talking about Bhava Bhakti, second part of the book about Prema Bhakti, and third and fourth about rasas, primary and secondary rasas.
You are talking about the book or the chapters?
No, I'm talking about the book, Nectar of Devotion book.
Well, Nectar of Devotion book means what? We are discussing only one part of the book. The book has
First
four
part.
divisions. First part. The first part has four divisions. First chapter and introduction were Samanya Bhakti. Then chapter 2 to 16 was Sadhana Bhakti. Within Sadhana Bhakti, there was Vaidhi Sadhana and Raganuga Sadhana. Then chapter 17 and 18 is Bhava Bhakti. Chapter 19 is Prema Bhakti. We discussed this in the first class.
But the amount of Prema Bhakti is so less. I can see that Bhava Bhakti is more in the whole
So
syllabus.
so in the later on parts of the book that will be described, no? Bhakti-rasāmṛta-sindhu is not getting over here. We're just discussing the eastern part. Then there is southern part, there is northern part, there is western part. We are not discussing that in Bhakti-sastri course.
Okay, so in this course, we are mainly concentrating on the Bhava part, Bhava Bhakti.
We are considering only on sadhana. Bhava is only 2 chapters. Sadhana Bhakti is chapter 2 to chapter 16.
Okay, sadhana
So
part.
in our course, we are just focusing more on sadhana. That also Vaidhi sadhana.
Got it, Prabhuji.
Because
Okay.
we are at that level, we are aiming for that. Raga, Nuga, Bhava, Prema is far-fetched.
Okay, Prabhuji. And as you told that Bhava Bhakti, the second part Raganuga, it leads to Goloka. So the Prema Bhakti, it will also lead to Goloka as the
You
destination.
are not understanding, I think. You see, sadhana bhakti will lead to bhav. Bhav will lead to prema.
Yes.
You cannot go to Golok or you cannot go to Vaikuntha without prema. Going to Vaikuntha or Goloka is only after one has gotten to the stage of prema. Right? So first one is doing sadhana bhakti. Through sadhana bhakti one develops bhava bhakti. Through bhava bhakti one will get prema bhakti. Through prema bhakti one will either go to Vaikuntha or go to Goloka. Now if the sadhana which that person was doing was Vaidhi sadhana, so that Vaidhi sadhana will lead to bhava of one kind. That bhava of one kind will lead to prema of one kind, and that prema will lead to Vaikuntha. If one is doing Raganuga sadhana, then that Raganuga sadhana will lead to bhava of one kind. That bhava will lead to prema of one kind, and that prema will lead to Goloka.
Okay, got it. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Sure. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, the main ingredients towards either the Gunaganayakana Prabhu, what did you write?
Yeah, Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Prabhuji, my question is that the main ingredient towards either through the 2 types of sadhana bhakti or directly to achieve Krishna, is this the understanding correct?
Can you repeat please?
Okay,
The main ingredient. The main ingredient, what?
Yeah, to achieve Krishna Prem, so someone can through this 2 sadhana bhakti, or he can directly reach to the bhava stage and then the prema stage.
How one will reach directly to bhava stage?
By mercy.
Yeah, but then how will one get mercy?
Okay. Just like we are that inconceivable mercy, I mean, without any cause.
Yes. Yeah, without any cause. But like, how will you get mercy? You have to be a practicing devotee, right?
Okay.
Which means you have to at least stand 16 rounds, right or wrong?
Yeah, something one has to do. Then he
So
can.
that something is Vaidhi sadhana that we are doing.
Okay.
Correct. That much little Vaidhi sadhana we have to do.
Okay.
We cannot say, I'll not do that much also. And then Krishna will give me mercy.
Okay.
That will not happen.
So anyhow, sadhana need to be there, right?
Oh yeah, sadhana has to be done. If we don't do sadhana, then it will just become a joke.
Yes.
We have to do sadhana. But sadhana is not sufficient. Along with sadhana, we have to beg for mercy also. But if you say we'll not do sadhana, we'll just beg for mercy, that will also not be accepted by Krishna.
Puji, this sadhana that we are doing, that is itself is a mercy form, right?
It is a mercy form, but it is also your efforts, no? You are putting efforts, no? to chant 16 rounds every day, you have to put efforts. You have to take out time for it.
Yes, Guruji.
It's not that our spiritual master is chanting 16 rounds for us. We have to chant around 16 rounds.
Yeah, as you are mentioning that we have to show our sincerity at the same time.
Correct. We have to show our sincerity that I'm doing what I have been told to do. That is my sincerity. And then the result is so high, I cannot get it based on my efforts only. So I'm asking for mercy also. I'm begging for mercy also.
Okay, Guruji, thank you so much.
Isn't it? It's just like, you have to prepare for a very tough exam. And you go to the teacher, you tell, please pass me, and please pass me. And the teacher says, well, if you score well, you pass. If you don't score well, you fail. Then you say, no, I am a very stupid student. I don't understand anything. Even if I study for 10 lifetimes, I'll not pass this exam. So what will the teacher do then? The teacher will say, okay, fine. If you are so stupid, at least in front of my eyes, you sit and study. After that, you give the exam. And if you fail, I'll give you grace marks and I'll pass you. Right or wrong? Right, isn't it?
Yes.
Huh? So that's how Krishna is and Krishna's pure devotees are. They will say, okay, you are Kali Yuga people. You don't have hope to get perfection by sadhana. But at least do something what we are asking you to do.
Okay, Guruji, thank you.
You're getting now?
Yes,
Now
Guruji.
that something is too small
Mm.
for what we are going to get.
Yes.
Getting it? That is too small for what we are going to get. That's why one of the devotees, he gives this example. The Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying, you don't even give the exam. Just sit in the exam, write your name on the answer sheet. So that you don't write anything there. That's all is being expected. That you come to the exam hall, you sit for 2 hours, and you just write your name on the answer sheet.
Yes.
That's all is being expected. Now, if I say I cannot even do that, right? So that's
Okay.
okay.
Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, everyone. See you tomorrow. Hare
Hare
Krishna. Thank
Krishna,
you.
Prabhuji, you
Oh,
wanted to announce something
yeah, I
after the
wanted to
questions.
announce. I wanted to announce. So this batch is getting over. Registrations for the new batch are open. You can let devotees who are interested to join the new batch starting from 3rd of February. That's first thing. Second thing, if you want to do Bhakti-sastri again, that option is also there. If you fail, you have to anyway do it again. But if you don't fail, then also that option is there that I want to refresh my knowledge. So you can join even as a listener, which means you don't have to give exams and all that. You just attend the classes, and that is another option, right? And the third thing is that after this batch gets over, we'll have a closing ceremony program where you can share your reflections and feedbacks and all that. Fine. So that's all 3 announcements. See you